Hello and welcome back to Beyond the Veil background information. We're doing a creature profile today. Excuse the distant sound of a dog barking. It's one of those days today. And as always with my profiles, I'll start with a little quote from a story of mine that has mention of these beings in. Then I'll give you the background information, which is, mythology, folklore that I've mixed together to create this being, and then I'll give you the creature profile, which is how it sits in my Veil universe. So let's get into it. We're on the last of the spider aspects of the night predators, which is the hair trappers. So let's get into it. To be fair, my kind are considered part of the shape-shifting family, which is lucky when other seductive beings with more feminine looks tend to get branded demons or put amongst creatures like the spiders, or the Harionago for one, though I've yet to meet one in person. They do like eating young men, so please avoid following girls with long hair down dark alleys. Quote from Reciprocity. Sadly, many of the yokai beings of Japanese mythology are separated out into varying categories within the Veil. Despite the fact that yokai is a collection of folkloric beings and is generalized to mean demon, the majority are just listed as demons within the Veil world. However, some very specific ones, such as the kitsune and the gumo, get particular mentions and placement in different categories. But there is another group that tends to get put in amongst the night predators spiders, a group generally known as the hair trappers. Now, in Japanese folklore, there are a variety of beings like this, and often with the same modus operandi of using some beautiful feminine form to attract the incautious and devour them. Amongst these beings are those whose abilities tend to be related around their hair. Whether the hair will wrap about the neck and strangle, has hooks in the end to rip their prey to shreds, brings their prey to a second mouth in the head, or simply they have no face and you have fallen for them. Either way, their ability relies upon their beautiful hair hiding away the darkness within. We're going to discuss three of them that come together in the Veil collectively to create the hair trappers. Now, the one I'm not talking about is the one that strangles. I can only remember it from an anime and sadly from a hentai I stumbled upon that we won't speak of ever again. In this, all I could remember was some link to getting people to follow her to a willow tree, but then the tree limbs were disguising her hair laid out to wrap around these mourning people, and then the beautiful woman that was there strangles them so they can join their loved ones, but that she can devour the body. It was over a decade ago. I can't seem to find the right name for the character or the creature, but it was the main inspiration to having the hair trappers. There was also another bizarre form that certainly sits comfortably in the realm of the hentai that I've decided not to talk about because it would really be uncomfortable for me. But anyway, the first one we'll speak about is the Kejiro, a seemingly beautiful woman but hidden within such long dangling hair that when men are drawn to her she turns to show no face but just constant hair. Known as the hair hooker, but unlike the other we will discuss with that name, this is as in the other term for a sex worker. Coming from an idea about some people being pretty only from behind, the Kejiro is the most desired of women if you see her from behind, with the longest raven black hair, sashaying hips, and just this aura that should draw anyone in. But when you grab her, turn her around, all you see is the lack of a face, and as you try to move the hair back to look, it's already surrounding you to devour and smother you. Like most of the yokai female entities of this nature, their whole purpose is to attract unwary men with lustful intentions and punish them for it. But the Kejiro is said to be desired by other yokai as well, making it a little more unique, and yet it is not talked about much these days except for a character in an anime. Then we have the actual hair hooker, the Harionaga, or the barbed hair, is said to be another beautiful and alluring woman. She walks down alleys and dark streets at night in seeming silence. She does have a face, and she is beautiful from all angles, with extensive long black hair, and it is not just lustful men, but foolish boys who want to spy on her that she lures out of their homes. As soon as they get close enough, and they're in a secluded spot, she turns to her prey and gives them a winning smile. Should the fool reciprocate with his own smile, the hair shoots out, revealing hooks on the end that slash off the victim's clothes and then their flesh, gobbling them up hungrily. If one is lucky, they might be able to outrun the hair, but they have but they have to get into their house to avoid it. Some stories state that the hare will still chop at the door, so they need it to be well barricaded until the morning when it will be gone. The third and final member of this group we're going to talk about is the Futakuchi-onna, the two-mouthed woman. Like all the others, she is a beautiful woman with beautiful long black hair, but the hair hides a secret. Not only is it strong and able to grip things, but it will hoist up items and bring them to the second mouth in the back of the head. This second mouth is revealed by the woman's skull seemingly splitting in half along the middle and then gulping down whatever is brought to it. It's almost like a Rapunzel, except with something nastier hidden by the hair. This creature comes from some bizarre stories about how little women seemingly eat and how they might be hiding a much hungrier mouth than in some of the more urban legend-style interpretations of this being are waiting to devour miserly husbands who won't give them what they want. In all these forms, these yokai women, cursed or afflicted women, are there to punish more than just simply hunt. People looking only at someone for the sake of beauty will get shock from it, and so they live within the veil, under the spider grouping, and use their hair to draw in prey. Now, here is their profile for the veil. Side dark, created by envy and lust demons, created for teach human men to watch the lust of the eyes. Created when? Before the veil. Physical description, often seen as the most beautiful and delicate looking women around, with long jet black hair that hides either a second mouth, a lack of a face, sharp barbs, or wicked wire-like strands to garrot. Some of these beings are known to actually be male, but like the kitsune, take on a female look to hunt on their own. Abilities: they conceal their hunger through alluring looks and then reveal their nastiest surprise after luring their prey away. Their hair is often incredibly strong and mobile, more powerful than their own arms or hands, and just as prehensile. They can absorb blood and gore into the hair too, so that no sign of their hunt is revealed. The more they eat, the longer they live, and the more youthful their prey, the more alluring their looks become, and the healthier they are as they grow old. Most notable for trapping, using their hair to disguise their weaponry. Weaknesses: generally mortal if they do not eat often. Fire and scissors or sharp razors are the only things that can cut their hair back, and without their hair they cannot hide their nature or hunt. Number: there are only a few. Some say less than 500 in total around the Vale, and they are thought to only live on the yokai-controlled islands in Japan in the Vale. Well-known beings: a vengeful hair trapper with the wire-style hair was never named, but in the vampire story she was sold into the servitude of a vampire noble, her blood taken, and her body used, and she was so abused by him and always hungry that when she learned he'd taken a liking to her sisters and wanted to have them too, she dared to do the impossible and took the vampire's head off with her wire hair while sharing his bed, then carrying his head out to the sunlight and letting it burn. The flames from the vampire's head sadly burning her to death too. Characters and stories: so far I have ideas, but none set down. Final comments: one of my dear friends is much more informed for yokai lore than myself, and these beings were ones she was very fond of, and so I felt inclined to join them to my universe with hopes I may write about them in future. I also hope you found them interesting. I linked them to the spiders because the original being I read about that laid a trap with its hair like a spider's web and the luring factor, but truly they probably should have their own spot. Thank you for listening.